Hello and welcome to Loose Links.
Join us for the next hour as we share and debate our topics.
And come and join us as a brand new panel.
Roll titles. Welcome to this week's Loose Links. Did you like how we answered this week? As we share on the show this week, The Apprentice, as somebody leaves on medical terms. But that did get me thinking about medical and sickness in the workplace. Do you think in the year of 2023 we are at a place where people are well supported when it comes to any kind of sickness? Also, we go into the world of bed sheets this week, ladies and gentlemen, as Stacey Solomon shares how often you should change your bed sheets, and is it a game changer for you if somebody isn't on the same page as you as dating to how often they clean their sheets? Is it a game changer for you? And also we finish on a relationship scenario. We always like to delve into the real world, as one man walks away from his woman but states to his woman, you now have dating rules to date anybody else. Do we think that's acceptable? And also, would we ever return back to an ex for advice when it comes to our dating life now? All that on tonight's show. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening. Joining me on the panel this week, Nicholas James, is Sue Humphrey. She's back. Sanjay Hitwell and the glorious Claire Browning-May. You just can't stay away, can you, Claire? Can't do it. Just can't do it at all. You love it that much. She rings me every week begging to be on the next show. Look at her face. Begging, don't you, Claire? Absolutely begging for me to be on the next show. Right, I am trying to find my phone because we finally put polls up this week. Polls have been up for the first time in season 6. So I just wanted to share with you the poll results. So the poll results this week were, so first poll was, do you think online dating really works? So 7 of you said yes, 6 of you said no, and 15 said for some people it works. Second poll was, do you still believe in the royal family? Questionable. 13 yes, 4 no. And then the final poll, which Claire Browning-May you're going to be very, very surprised of, can I tell you, is do you think Prince Harry did the right thing by bringing out his book to have his say? 6 of you said yes, and 6 of you said no. So very, very 50-50 there.
Wow.
I forgot to put my vote on.
I knew you were going to say that, Claire. I knew, because you would have made it to 7 there, but yeah. But let's start with this week's show. So we're going to talk about this evening an apprentice contestant, Rhys Donnelly, has insisted he left the reality show on health grounds and had no regrets. Rhys, 25, from Glasgow, was the first Scot to appear on the BBC programme in 8 years. In Thursday's episode, he was filmed at Heathrow with his fellow contestants before they caught a flight to Dubai for their latest challenge. But the clip proved that the theatre school owner left at the very last minute when it came to flying out to Dubai because of health reasons. So that did, ladies. It's about jumping on the question. I'm not going to divide it. I'm not going to actually individually jump on the question. But that did get me thinking about the world of health. And the world of health when it comes to working or being in a job and stuff like that. Do you feel sickness nowadays, so in the year of 2023, do you feel like sickness is in the right place that it should be, and people are well supported by sickness when it comes to working?
I think it depends who you're working for, to be fair, and what your job is. I used to work a lot of hours a week, and when I worked at McDonald's, I could work like 14 hours in one day, get home, flake out, and then 10 hours later back at work again, and I'd be doing shifts like that all the time, and then wonder why I was so tired after like 3 days of doing it. So but that was back in the old days when health and safety wasn't such a big thing. But I do think it depends on the employer, and I do think it depends on what the work is.
Yeah, I think personally, definitely, like what Sam says, it depends who you work for. And the trouble is as well, it depends on the individual person, because, you know, if you work and if you're off sick and you get paid, people tend to, a lot of people, I'm not saying everybody, they are ill more often because they can get paid for it. This is what I found anyway. I mean, both my jobs, I've only had 2 in my life. I've both been lucky enough to get paid if I was not ill. But I mean, the job I'm at now, I've literally had 2 days off in 5 years, because it's about letting your friends, your work colleagues down. So I can't really say on my behalf, because as I say, I've not had a lot of time off. But there's a lot of mental health around now. But do you have to prove? It's all about proving, isn't it? Do you go to the doctor, and if you've got a sick note, and is that fair? Well, personally, yes, but other people might think not. You know, it's not fair.
I'm going to jump on that a little bit, and
Yeah.
I'll direct it at Sue a little bit. So do you think Sue would, because obviously you've had the longest working life out of all of us, but do you think now, when we think about, and you've worked with students as well and stuff like that, and you've been in the teaching world, do you think it's easier to phone in sick with a physical condition, so with either sickness and diarrhea or a headache or a heavy cold or flu or anything like that, than it is to ring up to say, actually, I'm not having a very good day today, I can't get out of bed, I can't come into work today?
Well, that's really tricky. It's really tricky because it's several years since I was in the workplace full time. I mean, a lot of years actually since I was in the workplace full time. I think that I know that there is statutory support, so legal support for people when they are ill. I understand that it's still possible to self-certify for a couple of days. So, you know,
I think it's a week.
Sorry, Sam.
It's a week, I do believe.
A week. So, you know, you can actually have a week off sick without having to get a sick note, and be paid for it. And that's absolutely fine. And it's a good thing, because I'm a bit like Claire. You know, I'd have to be really ill to take time off work when I was working full time. Really ill, you know.
I was the same.
I can probably count on 2 hands in my whole working life the amount of time I took off sick. But just going back to your question about mental illness and mental health, I think employers are becoming better at understanding those issues. And I think if people have been diagnosed with something, then there is a lot more support than there used to be. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I think there probably is more from things that I've heard and people that I've known. There is more support, but the temptation is always, you know, we don't always feel like going into work. But as Claire said, you know, you're supporting your colleagues and you don't want to let them down. So if you're having a bit of an off day, I think it's a bit of a difference between having an off day and actually not being able to get out of bed. And I think employers these days are far more conscious of the difficulties that people who suffer from mental ill health have. And I think there's a lot more support for it. And quite rightly so. Quite rightly so.
It's interesting what all of you have said there, really. I find that really interesting about Sue, where you've just said, actually, I can count on 2 hands the amount of days I've off sick. And then Claire, you spoke up as well and was like, I've only had 2 days. But do you think that's more guilt than it is than listening to actually what your body's feeling like now? So can you honestly say you have gone into work feeling like rubbish, feeling like proper rubbish? Because it's more of a guilt thing to be sat at home when you know people are struggling to cover staff and stuff like that, than you personally listening to your own body and how you are feeling.
I think I've been very fortunate in that I've never been seriously ill, I suppose. You know, I think you know, I've had the odd cold and I've taken a day off or a couple of days off. I've had a bad back, you know, and not been able to sit and I had to lie flat for a couple of days. You know, I've had a couple of days off. But I honestly don't think I think probably the longest time I ever had off work was after I'd had my children, you know, and I was on maternity leave. So I don't think it's a guilt thing. I think it's I'm not really ill, so I'm going into work because I've never, you know, and I'm really thankful. I've never been seriously ill with anything.
No, I haven't until I can't think what it was called now. What did I have?
COVID.
No.
Conjunctivitis?
No.
That the other week, didn't you?
Breathe.
Oh, Claire, we could be here all night, love.
Well, you could with me. I mean, you're lucky I'm here. Come on. Anyway, I couldn't breathe.
Pleurisy.
Pleurisy. Thank you. Pleurisy. I had pleurisy and I went into work. Didn't know I'd got it, of course. Went into work and I put my bags down and someone said, "Are you all right?" And I burst into tears and I went, "No." And I explained and he went, "That's pleurisy. You need to get at the doctors." And of course, couldn't get into the doctors. I had to wait for a phone call, blah, blah, blah. And I did have 2 days off. I should have had more because I wasn't 100% for weeks later. But because I'm not one for taking time off, and it's like, well, I don't feel 100%, but I'll go in and if, you know, like I say to my kids, well, I used to say, go in and if, you know, if you don't feel well, they'll send you home. But of course, I've got to work, so I'm thinking I will stay.
But there's another part to that, Claire, and I am putting you on the spot a little bit here because obviously you're the only one in the panel that has well, Sam, you've had your own problems, haven't you? But watching somebody else with a disability condition. Now, what I want to say is this: that and I haven't said it yet. I can't believe I haven't said it. Oh, where's Claire gone? Oh, I wonder where you gone then, Claire.
No, it's I'm charging my phone, but it said 20%, and I don't know why. Oh, you might.
Yes, I am going to say this, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I finally had the pleasure of meeting Claire Browning Bay at one of my birthday meals for the first time. But after that, me and Rachel went to pick up Claire. I can't remember why we picked you up. I think was it a night out? Yeah, it was the loose night out, and we picked you up. And I finally had the chance to meet Harry. which Claire talks about quite a lot on the show. And I am going to say this, I found him absolutely inspirational. I really did. The way I was talking to him and the way he's such a confident lad, absolutely massively confident lad. And what I really found is that, and I hope you don't mind me saying this, Claire, is that the chair doesn't really define him at all. I didn't feel it defines him at all. But when you have a disabled son and you go and you think about being ill and being off work and stuff like that, is Harry in your mind? Does Harry go, well, actually, I've just got a bit of a sniffle of a cold. Harry has to go through this stage every single day of getting up and working. So does that push you a little bit forward as a mother to maybe go in a little bit more than normal?
Well, can I just say that apart from hospital appointments, Harry had 100% attendance, and my daughter, who is in year 11, is also on 100% attendance. So not really, like Sue said, been lucky enough not to be ill. It's only myself, as in last year, that I had pleurisy. That, you know, I've actually had time. I mean, when I had my other job, it was just the odd day here and there, but I was never seriously ill. So yeah, we've been very fortunate. So and like he's at the age now he can look after himself. But yeah, we're not.
Claire, make you watch this week's show. Hello, Harry, and can I just say you are an inspirational person to me. It was absolutely fantastic meeting you. So let's all wave to Harry this week. Hi, Harry.
Hi, Harry.
So make sure he watches it, Claire. But have your say this week. Do you think illness is where it should be in the year of 2023? Do you think we have that edge of guiltness when it comes to staying at home and calling in sick, and we will push ourselves to go in even when we are really poorly? And do you think mental health and physical health is in its right place in the year of 23? And do you think it's harder to pick up the phone when you've got something mentally going on than physically? Have your say. You are the 5th panel member out there. It's really important that you come and join our conversations. But we slightly move on to, in 2022, ladies, I don't know if you know this week, but this week's the week of love. I hope you're all prepared. The week of love. But in 2022, starry-eyed Brits spent over 990 million on Valentine's Day. There's no need to fork out on big sums for romantic dinners, how to cook for someone special without breaking the bank. Wherever you go, all in for Valentine's Day, or you're just a critic of Valentine's Day, the whole romantic scene always whisks us away as we see it on films, TV, and we just hope for that special person in our lives. But actually, does it ever really turn into reality? So I wanted to talk about Valentine's Day, ladies. I wanted to have a bit of a chat about it, the week of love. Let's have a bit of a chat there. Is Valentine's important anymore to anybody out there, or do you think it's just another money-making system?
Money.
Do you, Claire? Are you not? So say like someone was special in your life, would you do Valentine's Day, or would you be like, nah, can't be bothered with that?
If I did, then I would either just, you know, cook them their favourite meal, or the supermarkets do some good deals. I mean, I'm going to get one for myself and I eat the lot. You know? But like, I meant on 2 separate days, not in one sitting. But, you know, for £15-20, you can get like a 3-course and a bottle of fizz. So, you know, I don't mind celebrating with myself.
Well, you've got to learn to love yourself, haven't you? So
Exactly. Yeah, I'm with you, Claire. It's all about the money, I think. Did you say 990 million?
900. This is a world poll. So 990 million pounds was spent on Valentine's Day in 2022.
That's it's obscene, isn't it? I mean, that's obscene, really. It's just you
But are
know,
we more critical of Valentine's Day, ladies, when we're single?
I
No.
probably would agree with that. And also, I think it depends on the individual person as well. But I think being single over Valentine's Day, for me, it's not really bothered me that much. It's like, oh, it's just another day. It's just another day for me.
It does me.
does it bother you, Claire?
Yeah, I'm on my own again and again.
Oh no.
That's why I make a meal for two and eat it for myself.
So when you were in a long-term relationship, obviously not going to go too much into your private life, but when you were in a long-term relationship, did you tell them
My one and only long
you're
term.
one and only? You're one and only. Did you ever do anything for Valentine's?
Yeah, we used to. Yeah, we definitely used to. We would exchange, we'd give each other a card, and occasionally I might get flowers, or he might cook dinner.
What
or
do you
we
want you
might
going to
go
say
out
then,
together.
Sue?
But I think the more I think about it, I think it's about, especially, I look at young families these days, especially where both parents are working, probably more often than not, both parents are working, and if they're really well organized, they'll have a monthly date night, which I think is
Massively important.
which I think is really
Massively
important. If they're not that well, and it doesn't necessarily mean going out, it just means making
No.
time for each other. And I think probably what I would like Valentine's Day to be, because it is all about love and it's about sacrifice. If you go back to the Christian roots of it, then I think actually just making time for each other on that day would be a great thing. You know, I think that's the way that you show someone that you care about them.
Yeah,
Not,
I mean,
about a flash meal out, or, it's about making time.
yeah, I mean, for Valentine's Day, I always get my daughter, obviously I love my daughter to a bit. So my way of, sharing Valentine's Day with her, to me, would be more meaningful than sharing it with a significant other, because, she's 18 now, so she may not want to,
Yeah.
hang out with mum or anything, because that's uncool nowadays, isn't it?
But the thing is, I'm not going to be the Grinch on the paddle on this.
No
topic.
way.
Are you just
Oh my God.
Do you want to see what I? Do you want to see what I think of love and all? I did this drawing earlier in the week. That's what I think of love.
Oh, well, the thing is, I'm not going to be the Grinch. If I'm completely honest, I miss Valentine's Day. I do. I loved that. I know, and I know people go, well, you can tell anybody you love them every day. Why do you need a day to say it? And I get that, but actually, let's celebrate being in a couple. Let's celebrate how far you've come together. Let's do it. And I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm a very love flowers, love cards, and you are, Sue, you are completely and utterly right. When it comes to a relationship, it's like when they say the honeymoon period dies off, and well, I'm like, well, why does it need to die off? And I think you're right, Sue, with what you say about it's really important, if you're married, if you're boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, whatever, that you do make that date night, that you do make that night where it's just the two of you. You put your phones to the side, you put them on silent, it's just spending time together. And that's really, really important. And you need to keep it fresh. You need to keep it going. You need to keep it exciting. But I am like you, Sue. I think when it comes to Valentine's Night, obviously, it gets extraordinary in restaurants on the 14th of February. Absolutely extraordinary. So what I would do, and what I've done in the past, is when I've, but again, I'm divulging a little bit, but let me tell you this. I've done where where a partner's walked in the front door at the end of the day, and there's flower petals all the way up the stairs, and it leads candles round to the bath. And I've done all of that. And I love that. Go on, Claire.
I'm coming to your house, Nick. And when you open that door, there'll be flower petals.
But when I reflect on, and I'm sure Sue Humphrey will agree with me, but when I reflect on relationships now, I don't think I'm fit to. Well, no, I'm not. I'm 26 years old now, and when I reflect on relationships, I don't think I've ever been in a healthy relationship. I don't think I've ever been in a relationship where it's 50-50 between two.
I'm with you on that. I think a lot of them have been in, they've been toxic or unhealthy, or there's always something, and it's always me that does all the giving. It's always me that's giving my energy. It's always me that's giving out the love, and I don't get it back. And that's probably why I'm so cynical about love and relationships, is because I'm always the one that gives. And
it's got to be 50-50 on it. It's got to be. And that's what I've learned now at 29 years old. That's what I've learned, that actually, if someone isn't going to put as much as I'm putting into it, as much as I'm giving, as much as what's the point? Do you know what I mean? If the other person isn't going to give that back, what's the point? But so that was a very quick topic on Valentine's Day, whatever. But what I was going to say is, also, I'm a person that might do something at home on the 14th, but then the following weekend, when it's all not surprisey anymore, I might take someone out.
You've only got to look at the price of flowers in the shops.
Yeah, massively.
And
there was one year, I think it was last year or year before. I think it was last year actually. I went into Tesco's a couple of days after.
There are many of us.
And their roses were gone down dirt cheap. So I was like, sod it, I'm buying myself some. So I bought myself some roses and took them home and displayed, put them on the thing.
I think in a healthy relationship, for me, Valentine's Day happens once a month. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to make the effort for that person once a month. I'm going to do something for that person once a month, not just Valentine's Day and that's done for the year. Now I'm done.
Not only if, but it's important that person is doing something for you once a month.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be 50-50. But tell us what you guys think out there. Do you think Valentine's important? Do you think that that you agree with me and Sue that actually date night is really important as well? Tell us if you've been in years and years of marriage, and that tell us how you keep your marriage going and how you keep your relationship going, because we'd love to hear it, because I think 4 of us on the panel hasn't been successful yet. So please let us know what you think. I am saying though, yes. I am saying yes. But let's move on to the next topic. So this topic has put a massive smile on my face, obviously, because there's been, all alcohol is bad for you. But if you are already a drinker, you might want to think about switching out your usual beer, cider or G&T for a small glass of red wine. Red wine is rich with nutrients that are good for the body and for plants. They benefit lower blood pressure, cholesterol, reduce the risk of heart attack, diabetes, and boosting your gut immune system, as it says in the news. So the news is stating to us this week, ladies, that having a glass of red wine every night is good for you.
Nick, just ask Sue to raise her glass.
Yeah, go ahead, Sue, what are you drinking? Red wine is good for you. But I am going to
have a lot of time off sick.
Well, I'm going to make ladies, I am going to make you think. So with alcohol on most people's lips on a Friday and a weekend, do you think, ladies, let's go around the panel, do you think you could ever go teetotal? Let's go to you first, Claire. Could you be a teetotal lady?
Nope. Nope. No, I'm not saying I never ever will, but I'm a middle-aged single woman who doesn't go out very often. So when I'm inside, I enjoy my own company. Get a 2-for-1 meal for Valentine's Day on my own with a free bottle of fizz and drink it to myself. I don't know, Nick. It's difficult, but I've always enjoyed one, and I know a lot of people say that they don't like to drink on their own, but I could be teetotal if that was the case then, because I'm always on my own. But
I've learned as I've got older, actually, when I was, because now I'm at the age of 27. The more I talk about it, I don't know why you're all laughing. But when I was younger, I was like that. I can't drink on my own. Can't do it on my own. And I could only drink when I go out. Where actually now, I used to say no drinking on school night. I used to say that all the time. But now that's gone out the window, because when it's been a stressful day, when I'm cooking dinner or when I've got a bit of music on or whatever, the wine comes out. It just comes out. It just naturally comes out. But I can drink on my own now, because a lot of the time because of work, I am on my own, Claire. And if I don't drink, I'll never drink. I would just never have a drink.
I'll just remind you about when I picked you up the other night with your shopping.
Oh,
I'm saying no more.
you
no,
can't do that to us.
you've
Come
got
on.
to Bill now, Sue.
Another
Come on.
treat.
I believe you've said that, Sue Humphrey. So she came to go and pick me up from the supermarket because I don't drive. And I always buy like wine in for the month. I don't always drink it all. It sits in like a wine cupboard in my kitchen. If I
Wine in the box.
No, well, I said to Sue picked me up, and I said to Sue, you're going to think I'm an alcoholic. And she said, why? And I said, well, honestly, and I pulled out this Aldi bag because I'm a cheap drinker. I'm a cheap date. I'm an Aldi bird. So I pulled out this wine bag, and honestly, there was about 9 bottles in it.
No.
I'm saying no more.
Say no more.
Oh,
So it's no, but that's for the month. That is for the month.
At all.
that's more than one a week.
But I've been really good because I went shopping. So payday for me is at the end of the month, and we're now on the 13th, and I've only drank 1 bottle. There's still like 7, 8 bottles in the cupboard. I haven't. So anybody out there that's worried about my concern, I'm really not an alcoholic. Honestly, I really, really am not. What about you, Sue? Could you ever go, as she picks up a glass of wine, could you ever go teetotal?
Well, I have given alcohol up on occasions for reasonably long periods of time, but I've always missed it, if I'm honest. I think it's like anything, if you can't have it, you want it all the more, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm totally honest, my drinking habits tend to be open a bottle of wine on a Sunday and have a glass every night till it's runs out. So this will probably run out by Monday to Wednesday.
Have you ever drank a bottle?
What, on my own?
Yeah.
No.
See, I have.
No. Who
Don't worry, I've done that in the past as well, Nick. I can't say anything on that.
No.
But why doesn't I don't know
not even in my younger days. I mean, I'm you know, I'm 73 now. So, I mean, if, you know, whatever's going to kill me is going to kill me, isn't it?
But I think as well, I think the more I hated wine, I hated alcohol. Well, actually, as I've explained on the show before, alcohol was a big problem to my close family when I was young. So I was very, very conscious about alcohol when I was 18, and I hated the taste of wine, just didn't like it at all. And now I drink any kind of wine. I'm really not bothered, red, white, or rosé. I'm really not bothered on any kind of thing. But I have noticed that I can drink a bottle of wine and it doesn't affect me. Now, if I push that a little bit more and then I open another bottle, which is never, no, that's when it starts to go, whoa, Nick, now just slow yourself down a little bit because I'm starting to feel dizzy. But it has made me think about, because we talked about Valentine's Day earlier, won't we? And it made me think about potential partners or partner in the future. And actually, if that person wasn't a big drinker, would I give it up a bit? And I think I would. If somebody was in my life that wasn't a massive drinker and could, I don't know, go out for a meal and they said, what drink do you want? And they said,
orange juice.
Yeah, a soft drink. I don't think I would order alcohol because I would think, do you know what I mean? So I think it depends.
Yeah, I agree.
Your lifestyle and what you're doing and who you're with and this, that, and the other. Because I think it changes you a little bit because you don't want to be that drunken partner, do you? If your partner isn't drinking.
Yeah. I was going to say, Nick, not only are you a cheap date, but you're also not fussy either.
No, I'm not. I'm really not when it comes to wine. What was you going to say, Sue?
I was just going to say, when you said about have I ever drunk a bottle of wine, I probably have, actually. I mean, I probably have when I've been out in company, like 8 of us going out for dinner at somebody's house when I was married. And there were lots of empty bottles of wine on the table. There were more than 8 empty bottles of wine on the table at the end of the night. So I probably have, but I haven't sat at home and
intentionally sat there and just
drunk a bottle of wine. No, no.
I tell you something though, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to dive in to 3 panelists here to find out if they've ever lied. Are you ready? So Claire, when you go into a doctor's surgery and they say, how much do you drink? Yes. Do you lie to the doctor?
Yes. I know. You never
tell the doctor the truth?
I don't know. But it's sort of on, you know, it's just like on a checkup thing. And, you know, do you smoke? No. Do you drink? Yes. How much do you drink? Yes. Yeah, so.
Do you, Sue Humphrey, do you ever lie to the doctor when he says, Sue, Mrs. Humphreys, can you please tell me how much you drink in a week?
I don't think I do now because I don't need to. Yeah. I probably did before.
What about you, Sam? Are you honest? Are you an honest queen when it comes to the doctor?
Yeah, because I don't really drink that much anyway. It's not, I mean, I've always been known throughout my 20s and first, you know, but half my 30s, I've just been known as the go-to party girl. I'm always the first one. I'm always the first one on the dance floor. Always the first one to like drink everyone under the table. Always the last one standing. You know, I was the party girl amongst my friends. But now, since lockdown, I don't really drink that much. I mean, I had a rhubarb and ginger gin with lemonade yesterday with a meal for my mum's birthday, but I've not really gone out and got absolutely wasted. But I don't do it on the regular. So to me, I would say to him, it'd be easy to ask me if it's you know, every month rather than every week, because I don't drink that much.
But to get that, so we've had a bit of a giggle about it this evening, but also let's go on to the serious side of alcohol. So obviously there are people out there that suffer from alcohol illness. They really, really do. But do you think, when I think about it, when I think about society, because I always push back on society, I hate the book of rule of society. But when I think about society as adults from 18 onwards, if you think about it, if we do anything as adults, apart from maybe go to church, but if we do anything as adults, it's always somehow including alcohol.
Yeah.
It's like we are surrounded by it. So if you're going to meet a friend in a bar, you never meet a friend in a bar for a Coke. Do you know what I mean? When we go out for a meal and we order a meal, you're ordering a glass of wine, or you're ordering something with that meal to have, like you just said, Claire, the deals that they do now in supermarkets about buy this meal and you'll get this bottle free. Actually, do you think in society and what we are in now, that alcohol is the hardest drug to get off?
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's just flipping it on the other side of smoking. I mean, I don't smoke. I was a social smoker back in the day when you could in the pubs, but the price of cigarettes now are horrendous. But what's come about now is the vapes, you know, and it's like they have got I'm not sure if all of them have, because as I say, I've not had them. And I've heard that they want to increase the price of those, but it's like alcohol, isn't it? They've tried to do that. They've tried to increase the price of alcohol. And I just think with anything, if people want it, they will get it no matter what the cost. Which is, it's not good. I mean, you know, like cigarettes at the price that they are, but people still smoke. And it's bad.
But with cigarettes, Claire, with cigarettes, yes, it's there. But I don't feel like you can walk 5 minutes down the street without seeing alcohol. From a corner shop, from a supermarket, from a bar, from anything.
There's a shop round the corner called Bargain Booze. You know,
yeah, exactly.
You know,
and I do you feel like, if you do feel like you've got a bit of a problem, like, do we, that's another question. Do we ever question, have we got a bit of a problem with alcohol? Like, because I won't name them obviously, but some of my friends have said, like, when I've talked, and even work colleagues, when I've talked about drinking, someone will say, well, I drink every night. And the first thing you say is, don't you think that's a bit of a problem, that actually you can't go to bed without a glass of wine? When do we start? Because what society tells us is you're only an alcoholic when you sat on a street corner with a bottle and nothing left. Where actually there's functioning alcoholics.
Yeah. It's a difficult one, and like I've said before, and maybe for a lot of people since lockdown, you know, I like my own company, so I will sit in and drink. But how often do I sit in and drink to feel that, you know, I do drink if I've had a bad day, which could be most days. Do you know what I'm saying? And then at the weekends, what is your weekend? Is it Friday, Saturday? Is it Friday, Saturday, Sunday? And it is really difficult, but I don't know. What do you drink for? You know, because you like it. It's an addiction. There's a lot of things, but you know, it's like if you do go for a meal, you might think you're getting a nice meal, but it's the drinks that make the meal more expensive. That's why I like staying at home or having a meal deal.
See, I used to live years and years ago when Alicia was little. I used to live across the street from this chap who was a registered alcoholic. And when he went on his benders, the whole neighborhood knew about it. He was a nuisance to everybody. And it was round the corner from an infant school as well. So in some respects, you know, being an alcoholic, you know, like you said, there's functioning alcoholics. And then there's the raging ones, like the chap I used to live across the road from. And I'll tell you something, 7 years living in that house and 7 years of being across the road from him. I'm not surprised I've got grey hairs, you know.
But Sam, when do we
problem.
question ourselves? When is the point that we question and go, actually, I'm now becoming dependent on this. This isn't enjoyable anymore. This is, and when you question those people and you question, well, of course I'm not an alcoholic. I go to work, I do this, I do that, I do the other, I function, I've got children at home, I make sure but actually, when do we get to the point where actually, if a friend said, that's a good question. If a friend said to you, I think you're drinking too much, how well would you take that?
Oh,
silence.
I'll give you for instance, Nick. When I was married, and probably I had my son, I think. I'm just thinking about the house where I lived in at the time. So we lived in the northeast then, and my then husband was traveling a lot for work. And I got into the habit when he was away of having 2 bottles of lager a night.
Mm.
And that probably went on for about 3 or 4 weeks. And I suddenly thought one night, I don't think this is particularly healthy, because I was starting not to be able to sleep without it, and you know, because I was on my own. So I was lucky that I'd got a break, if you like, you know. If someone said to me, I think it's funny because I'm on my own and I drive, if I go out with friends to, you know, a country pub or something, I'm usually driving, so I don't drink. And I went out on Friday with a group of friends, and someone offered me a lift, and they said, so you can have a drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and actually it was really nice to be able to have a glass of wine with my lunch.
Yeah.
Instead of a Coke or a lime and soda or something. Not because.
Can I just say those two? Thank you for sharing.
That's all right.
Because there might be many people out there that are doing exactly what you did years ago and not realizing it's a problem.
Yeah.
And this is why I think platforms like this are really good, because we actually get to talk about it. This is the beauty of Loose Links. We have 3 questions for every topic, and it turns into about 7 questions by the end of it. But the thing is, what I try and really tackle on here, the best way I possibly can, is conversations that we struggle in society to have.
Yeah.
That we struggle in society to talk about. Yeah. And actually, if anybody's out there and actually that's made them rethink about how much alcohol they have in a week, we're making a difference. Do you know what I mean? It's just 4 of us talking, but we're making a difference. So have a think about this week, ladies and gentlemen, how much you drink in a week, and is it really becoming a problem or depending on it? Would you give up alcohol if someone special walked into your life and they were teetotal? Would you completely support them and go that way? Or would you be Claire buying a meal deal for 2 with a free bottle of wine so she can enjoy herself by the end of the night? Have your say. Remember, this is just 4 people's opinions. It's not fact. It's not fact at all. It's 4 people's opinions, and you can disagree with us out there. So, and please make sure you disagree back, because we'd love to hear from you. But, ladies, we're going to talk about Stacey Solomon now, because Stacey Solomon has gone viral everywhere about her bed sheets, and an interview on how often she feels that you should wash your bedding, single or taken. So her view was that you should clean your sheets at least once a week and make sure they're in the washing machine. Every child's bedding, your bedding, everything should be washed, hung, dried and put back on again. Today, Brandy May, how often do you change your bed sheet?
Well, I've got a double bed and I sleep on my own. So I have 1 week on one side
That is shocking.
and then I wash it. So 2 weeks.
My friend says that. I've got a friend called Lorna. Hi, Lorna, if you're watching. And I used to say, because I'm really funny about bed sheets, a bit OCD. She used to say that. And I go, Lorna, that's disgusting. 1 week on one side and 1 week on another. But let's go to you, Sam J. Hitwell. How often do you change your sheet?
It varies. I mean, because I need my carer to help me with changing my sheets, because I can't do it myself because of things going on with me. He has to do it. So it varies. It depends on how I'm feeling at the time. Sometimes it could be 2 weeks. Sometimes it could be up to a month. But like I said,
Well done, Sam, for being honest. Well done.
Yeah. Well,
Nick,
like I said, it just depends on how I'm feeling, because sometimes I can't physically do things. I don't have the energy to physically do anything. So, and I'm like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And tomorrow never comes. And then I'm like, I really need to do this.
I can hear Ronan.
So I'm like, come on, we've got to get this done.
I can hear Ronan Keating now. Tomorrow never comes. I can hear him in the background. Sue Humphrey, at the grand old age of 83, how often do you change?
She's 73.
Do you change your bed sheets?
It'll be 96 next time.
Yeah.
How often do I change my bed sheets? I change my bed sheets less often in the winter than I do in the summer.
Mm.
And it can be a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks in the winter, but every week in the summer.
Oh, see, I'm the cleanest on the panel then. I'm once a week all year round.
Well, you're very good.
Once a week all year round, where it changes from week to week. So I can't disclose where I work, but I can work 11 days at a time. And if I'm having a weekend off, so my weekend off is every other weekend, which is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I will do my sheets Thursday morning when I get up. So Thursday morning in the wash, I come home Thursday night in the dryer, straight back on, because I used to do it on a Friday, and then I think, oh, I'm not another night of enjoying clean bed sheets. I'd just rather do it. And then the weekend that I'm on, so working from Monday right through to the week on Thursday, I'll do it on the Friday night. I'll do it on the Friday morning. Sorry, get up Friday morning, bedding in the wash, in the dryer or in the garden, straight back on again. But do you think it's important that you ask? We're going back to Valentine's again, ladies, because it's Valentine's week. But do you think it's important to ask someone you are dating how often they change their sheets? And would this be a game changer for you? Let's go to you first, Claire.
That's difficult. I mean, how can you come out and say, oh, how often do you change the sheets? You know,
it's not something you discuss when you first start dating, is it?
no. I mean,
It's not a topic.
no, I'm not even going to.
Okay, so because I think I don't know, I wouldn't ask somebody. I just wouldn't ask somebody. But say like you were
get to the bedroom. That's why.
Say like you were 6 months down the line, And you said you were doing something nice, like, I don't know, one morning you got up and you said, oh, I'll change the bed this morning. And you just happen to have that, you just happen to say that, and then that other half says to you, oh, that'd be nice, because it hasn't been done in 6 months. Would that be, oh, actually,
Would
I
know
don't
if
know if I could go any further.
Probably no.
yeah.
No, that long,
no.
no.
But could it be a game changer, do you think? Do you think little things like that, because they say little things and often, don't they? Little and often. But do you think that's a completely different story, isn't it? Little and often. But do you think it is a bit of a game changer? And these little stories that we find out about people, are we trying to find, if you think about it, are we trying to find literally the other half of us? So exactly how we live, what we want to do, our life expectations. Are we looking for that person?
I think you would know roughly with the cleanliness of the other person, and if you have frequented this other person's bedding, you know, you would know. I think.
Sniff test before you get in there.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not in the loop. I don't know what you do now. I don't know.
Well, one thing I did, well, I went on a few dates with one guy, and after a couple of dates, I went round to his for a meal and that. And his whole flat was spotless. And he says, oh yeah, because I've not been well lately. My mum came and cleaned the whole flat, changed everything, sorted everything out, and tidied it for me. I was like, oh right, that's nice of her. And then he says, I never clean my flat normally. I was like, what? Never? You never use the Hoover? No, I don't know how it works. I was like, and he told me that he never cleaned, and he doesn't do anything to his flat. And I'm like going, no.
Sue, what was you going to say?
I was going to say, if I was in a relationship with someone, I probably would clean my bed sheets every week. I was going to say, because I would. Because it would probably be more necessary.
Talking about being dirty, right? I
wasn't being dirty.
No, but I'm going to talk about being dirty, and I love telling this story every time I can get a chance. So me and Sue had the pleasure years ago now about going to Africa to go and do some charity work, some absolute charity work. And this I was younger, obviously, so I was now at the age of 24. I was about 15, 16, 17.
That makes me 50 then.
And what happened is we were all working outside in this area, and this lad, I can't remember his name, but it was like a tufty teen sort of guy. And I went to carry this bag of cement. And he said to me, no, I'll carry it. And I went, no, I'm fine carrying it. And he went, no, let me help you, Nick. So he picked up this bag of cement, and we both went walking back outside. Well, I'm knackered at this point. Like, you don't get any sleep when you go and do charity work in Africa. You just don't sleep. And I went and I stood right in front of the circle where I wanted him to drop this bag. And he said, where do you want me to drop it? And I said, oh, literally there. And he dropped the bag, and the whole bugging bag split and went all over me. The whole cement bag went I was covered from head to toe in cement. I had hair then as well, so my whole hair was covered in it and everything like that. I get back, and I'm thinking, oh, I'll have a shower and la-da-da-da-da. So bloody Humphrey says, let me take a picture of you and I'll send it to Britain saying dirty weekend with Nick.
I
had a dirty weekend with Nick, with Sue Humphrey.
Oh, that's brilliant.
That's something interesting to say, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was very fortunate because is it 10 years since we went, Nick?
10, yeah, it must be about 10 years.
So I was 43 then. No. So I was 63, and facilities were basic, let's put it that way. But as I was one of the more geriatric members of the group, I was very fortunate to share a bedroom with two other older ladies, and we had
And they were all 41.
41, and we had our own running
Oh,
shower.
I know what she's going to say.
And toilet. Did we have a toilet in there? I think we
Yeah,
did.
you had your own toilet.
Yeah. And Nick used to come with his best pleading face on and say, "Can I come and use your shower, please?" Because the alternative was they called them bucket showers, and you had to actually fill them up first before you could have a shower. With cold water. It was cold water, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we were very popular in terms
And I
of
was very,
Not bad.
I can't believe how honest I'm being here, but I was in the nicest possible way. You eat rice quite a lot, and I was very, very clogged up. And I literally remember, because Sue had like luxury compared to me downstairs. She had like this luxury bedroom upstairs, and I used to go to say, "Can you please just stand outside your bathroom door for 5 minutes, please? Can I just use your toilet?" And she used to stand outside the bathroom door for this, and no one else would walk in. That's true love there. True love.
true friendship.
But let's finish on the last subject. So the last subject is my fiance. So it's a love one again, obviously, love week. My fiance dumped me, but now wants me to abide by unreasonable no dating rule. A man who was dumped by his fiance had left baffled, as she said, it would be rude of him to date other people, and it wouldn't invalidate their relationship. It's never easy when a relationship ends, but sometimes it's for the best. Even though it's painful in the beginning, both of you will no doubt start looking for other people and hopefully find your happy ever after. One man has been left incredibly confused as his fiance broke off the engagement, but proceeded to tell him that he couldn't go on any other dates because it would invalidate their relationship. So it did get me a little bit thinking about ex-partners, just a tiny bit. So when it comes to dating now, ladies, so say like you were going on a date tomorrow, when it comes to dating now, would you ever go to an ex for advice?
No, because
No.
I'd be worried that they'd give me some duff advice just to screw me over. So no, I wouldn't.
No,
Why not, Claire?
No, I'm friends with majority of my exes and my ex as of now, but no way would I say to him, no.
What about you, Sue? What about your one and only? Would you ever go to him for advice when seeing somebody new?
Probably know the answer to that, don't you? No, I most certainly would not.
Well, do you know what?
I with him. I mean, if they're the dumper, you know, if they're the dumper, what right have they got to be telling you what you can and can't do? If anybody's invalidated the relationship, surely it's the person who's done the dumping.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. When it comes to meeting anybody new, I really wouldn't. I just think that old saying, really, an ex is an ex for a reason. And that's why I would never go back to my partner 4 years ago and go, oh, by the way, I'm seeing somebody new. Is there anything I can be better at doing than when I was. I would just never give that opportunity. I'd be like,
No, I wouldn't
get
do it.
lost. I don't want you even involved in knowing who they are. But so I would never ever do that. And I think, but as I said earlier in the show, I don't think I've ever been in a healthy relationship.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's always been, and actually I wouldn't do it in the future. There's always been that I've put me on the shelf. And I thought, actually, if they're happy, I'm happy. I'm not doing that no more.
No.
I'm not doing that no more. And actually, if you're not going, as we talked about earlier, if you're not going to make an effort with me, I'm not going to make an effort with you.
But that's it. That's how I think nowadays, you know, relationships don't last because they don't try hard enough. You know, it's not 50-50, but then they're not bothered about trying to make it work. They're then looking for the next partner. You know.
But do you think as well, do you think that we're very quick to walk away at the first hurdle? There's not many people, like I told you something,
I do think that is something, you know, people, you know, couples will, there's something will happen and then that's it. It's like, no, we're breaking up, we're not. And it's like, well, work through your differences, communicate with each other, then maybe you could make it work. But I do think people are quick to call it a day when there's a first sign of trouble. I do think that does happen.
And the thing is, I feel I'm an old romantic. So if I choose to see somebody, if I choose to say, yeah, I think you're potential, I'm an old romantic in the fact of I won't talk to anybody else. I'm getting to know you as a person. I want to know you. You're intriguing me. I want to find out a bit more about you. But you hear a lot of young people say they'll go on a different date every single week.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I can't keep up with that. And if I'm honest, a couple of people know this, but I was in an open relationship before. Never again. I'm too jealous. I'm too jealous. I want my one and only. I want to find my forever. That actually he just wants me and nobody else.
I could never have an open relationship. No. What's the point, you know?
You're in a relationship for a reason, because you're in that relationship with that person. And if you want to go messing around, I feel like that's a bit disrespectful for that for the person that you're with. I do find it very disrespectful when people cheat on their partners, because especially when, you know, when they've put so much into it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that with marriage. You know, if you're married to somebody and you're having an affair, why do that? You know,
why cheat? Why cheat? Even if you're not married, why cheat?
Yes.
I agree.
And I honestly, again, I'm old-fashioned, but I think once a cheat, always a cheat.
Yeah.
You see, one of my exes, we was together just under a year, and I found out I was pregnant, but then I had a miscarriage, and he took it harder than I did. I was kind of like, well, obviously it wasn't meant to be, and I'm kind of logically thinking about this because that's how I am. I'm a logical thinker, but he kind of went off the rails a bit, and he went sleeping around behind my back.
Yeah, done.
And then he kind of like, when he admitted to me, because I suspected something wasn't right, and he told me, and I was like, what the, you know, and we split up, and I was beside myself because not only am I processing this miscarriage, but I'm also processing the fact that he cheated on me after that happened. And then a few days later, he contacted me, and he was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Well, what do you think?" kind of thing. I was being really, really bitchy with him. And eventually he says, "Right, have you eaten anything?" I says, I've barely eaten, I'm so stressed. So he took me out for a meal and we sat and chatted and that. And eventually we decided to give it another go. And about a year and a half later, after I'd moved in with him, I got rid of my house. I gave up my house. Me and my daughter moved in with us. And he went out to work. one day and he sent me a text saying, I don't want to be in a relationship anymore. I just want it to be me and my, and I flipped. I gave up my house the year before. I gave up my home. I got rid of all my furniture, everything for my home. I literally moved in with him, got rid of everything. And I was just, you know, the fact that now me and my daughter are technically now homeless because he doesn't want a relationship. So it's
well, the other thing that I find really important, and I heard this saying years ago, was, and again I say I've never been in a healthy relationship, but I hope that a healthy relationship falls into three categories, and the three categories are me, you, and us.
Yeah.
And you should never ever give up the you for us.
No.
Never ever give up independent you and what you want to do and what you want to achieve and how you want to see your life and your friends and all of that should never ever be given up for us.
Yeah, more so I think when you're younger. I mean, I don't know if that's right. So I'm not saying, you know, if you was in or getting in a relationship, you know, what you've been doing before while you've been single, you don't want to lose that. But I find that the younger ones do, because they lose their friends because they think, oh no, I want to be with this person. But if it doesn't work out, you've lost your friends.
Yeah, you should never
Yeah.
lose independent you. And go on, Sue.
Isn't it? How generations feel differently about things. I'm of a generation of women, the majority of whom probably were married in their early 20s.
Yeah.
And if you weren't married in your early 20s, society probably thought you were on the shelf.
Mm.
I met my husband to be when we were at university. I'd had boyfriends before, but he was my first serious relationship, and we married straight out of university. So I was married at 22, and we were married 27 years. And then he found somebody else. And funnily enough, the reason I found out was that I found a Valentine's Day card, funnily enough, in his briefcase when I was looking for something completely innocently. You know, I wasn't looking for it. I found it. And I always said to my children, find out who you are first. Find out who you are first before you decide you want to spend the rest of your life with someone.
Yeah.
Find out what's important to you. Find out what's not important to you. You know, be with loads of people. You know, find out what attracts you and what doesn't. You know, you don't have to take the first person that shows you some affection or love or whatever you want to call it. Now, I can't speak for this generation of young people because I haven't got grandchildren that are that age yet. But I both my children were older when they got married, not old, but older. And they had several fairly long-term relationships between them. And some worked out and some didn't. And some they left and others, their partner left them. Yeah. You know, there were all sorts of reasons for them breaking up. And no doubt they both were brokenhearted on more than one occasion, but they're now both happily married. That's not to say they always will be. Who knows? I hope they will be. but for this generation, I don't know. I don't know. I can't say about the younger people today because I don't know any that
No.
well, you know, to know how they're working their relationships
Come
out.
on, Sue, I'm 22 years old. Give me a break. Come on.
I had my daughter at 22.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I will finish on, ladies. You've had an extra 15 minutes out of us tonight,
Yeah.
ladies and gents. But I
Wow.
will finish on the saying that I was always taught when I was young, when someone walks out your life, anybody that walks out our lives and they find somebody new, you always give your toys, your old toys, to the less fortunate than you. And I think I've always held on to that.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I've always held on to that.
I will
Thank you
remember
for
that.
joining us at the episode of Love. It's been really interesting. Thank you for being part of our show this week. Will you thank my panel for this evening? Joining me, Nicholas James, was the girl that will always buy that meal deal but have it herself. That's Claire Brown in May. The person that will always have that glass of wine and be first on the dance floor, that's Sam J. Hitwell. And the person that revealed this evening that she had a very dirty weekend with me, that's Sue Humphrey. Join us next week for a brand new show with a brand new panel. Thank you for joining us. Good night, God bless, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Sam. Bye, Claire.
Bye.